Hi, this is Beru, and I'm going to walk you through healing the heroic Atramedes encounter from a Resto Druid perspective. More important than actually any amount of healing that you do with this encounter is dodging anything that's going to generate sound. So you're going to see that I focus a lot on making sure that I try to keep my sound a little lower. Our entire raid is going to all group up, including the melee, in one position here on Atramedes' hind leg. And as the sound discs come, we're going to all move to the other side of Atramedes' leg. The reason that we do this is so that we direct and control where the sound discs are going to go, so that all of the sound discs go to the same spot. Everybody can move together and pretty easily avoid all of the sound discs. I go into Tree of Life pretty early in the fight so that I can use it more than one time. Pretty much I do it right about the first modulate, and then I'll just kind of do it on cooldown as long as there's sufficient damage to warrant being in Tree of Life. You're going to see that I just Tranquility right there. It's a little tricky to use Tranquility on this fight because you actually have to stand still to use it. So I would strongly recommend using it right after you've moved so that you know that you're going to be able to channel the entire spell without, starting your channel and having to move straight away again. You're going to notice that I position my camera so that I'm looking at the side of the dragon a lot. The reason that I do that is so that I can see right away when the sound discs spawn, so that I can move as soon as I see them spawn. And you'll see that frequently I am the first person moving as soon as those discs get spawned under the dragon, and part of that's from my positioning. In the air phase here, I have sort of a little strategy that I use to make sure that I don't get pinged by those sonar bombs. And basically what that is I count in my head 1 1000, 2 1000, and then I move. And that means that I'm already on the move if a sonar bomb is targeted on top of me and I don't get hit by them. It's fairly effective, it's very easy, and it's a pretty surefire way to make sure that you don't take sonar bomb damage during that air phase. Throughout the duration of the fight, I rely pretty heavily on my instant cast heals, largely because it's a pretty mobile fight. So you're going to see I use a lot of rejuve, I use a lot of wild growth, I use a lot of swift mend throughout the encounter, but I also keep my life bloom on the tank. And to do this, I actually have to stand a little bit closer to melee range to be able to make sure that he's in range of me, which means that I have to be even more on my toes than the rest of the range at getting moved from these sonar discs that come out. The way we handle the breaths that he shoots out during this phase is that we run down the side of the wall if you're targeted, and it's the wall that we are standing at. So if someone gets a breath right now, they're going to run down the wall to our right. Now, if we're moving and a breath comes out, the person is going to have to turn and run towards the opposite wall so that they don't fire at the entire raid and kind of toast the whole raid. You can see it happens right here. We were all in position moving, and the person with the breath ran to the opposite side of the wall. Sometimes they're not quite quick enough and the breath catches them and they end up dying, and we'll have to res them. It's better to do that, in my opinion, than to sort of fry your whole raid. As we transition into the air phase, you see, I kind of am constantly on the run at the start of it. And that's just so that if he targets me as the first person in the air phase, I'm already moving and not standing still and having to move. We use a rogue or a feral druid to bang the gongs during the air phase. I think tonight we have a feral druid do it. And that's just because they've got movement enhancing abilities that lets them kite that gong, kite the fire for a fairly significant amount of time after they've banged on the gong. We come back in here, everybody's going to converge back on the one spot. We always come back to this yellow marker you see on the ground on the right spot. And again, as long as everybody's in position, those sound discs are always going to move in the direction that the entire raid is at, which makes it quite easy to dodge them. You see here that, sometimes I will take a sidestep when the flame breath goes out. And that's just to, pretty much ensure that I am not going to get hit by it if that person is a little out of position or a little slow moving once they've been targeted. Right now, we're just kind of progressing through the fight. Again, I rely largely on my instant cast heals. I'm a mobile healer in a mobile fight, so it's a pretty great fight for me. You see right there that our gong banger was off to the side and some sound discs went at him. We have that gong person stay out until the sonar pulse after the bomb so that there's a good open area that the sonar pulses split and we don't, end up with a bunch of them in really strange positions. We're going to enter into our last air phase here, and again, it's just a matter of moving in case he targets me first, and then doing my sort of countdown, 1,000, 1,000 move. Anyone that's in range of me, I'll heal up. Otherwise, I just really focus in this phase on maintaining my life. It's a pretty straightforward encounter, albeit sometimes frustrating to learn. Thank you for watching, and please don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions.